Connor Bedard is out until the new year. Nick Foligno is making the trip. Laurent Brossoit on waivers. Other than that, a pretty bland day at Fifth Third Arena. We'll wrap it all up next on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. Hope you're having a great Monday. I'm Jay Zawoski. That's Mario Tirabassi. Chloe's here running the show. We are presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app. Use our code CHGO365 when you sign up. Do that. Have fun. Win some money. Sounds good. All right. Here we are. The day we've all been dreading. The day we got the news about Connor Bedard's injury. And the latest, and we're going to hear from Jeff Blashill here on all things Connor Bedard in a second. Connor Bedard placed on injured reserve, not long-term injured reserve, and he will be reevaluated in the new year. So he is out at least the next 7 games. That's how many games remain in 2025. And then they'll reevaluate from there. There is no plan for surgery at this point. The focus is on rehab. That's where we're at.
It's not end of the world kind of information and news that I was preparing myself for. So that's good, as good as it can be in this kind of scenario, I would say. Obviously, best case scenario would be, he's just going to miss a game and he'll be fine. But this is definitely avoiding what seems like doomsday.
Yeah.
So. To hear that surgery doesn't seem like it's the plan that the path that they'll go down is also like, okay, I'm fine with that. Yeah, I think it's going to be, still a lot of wait and see. And I think the waiting is the hardest part, as lots of people have said before.
It's a good song.
But yeah, it's definitely not I would say the end of the season. Kind of news.
Yeah, Jeff Blashill said, quote, "It could have been a worse prognosis."
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
true. Why don't we hear from the Blackhawks head coach so we can stop quoting him and you could just hear him? Here is Jeff Blashill with Tracy Myers and Kaylin in the background here. This is after practice today.
What I'd say is that we're going to reevaluate after the new year. So we'll get through the new year and then kind of reevaluate and see where he's at.
Are we talking about a shoulder, a collarbone?
Out of fairness to him, upper body.
Upper body,
Yeah.
okay. Is that kind of what was expected? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was what was expected.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as we've talked about before, I mean, next man up, but in this case, it's going to have to be everybody.
Yeah. It's one of those things. This stuff happens. I just talked to the coaches in Tampa. I think they're out another defenseman. I think they're missing 4 of their starting D. Like, it's just part of the pro sports, and obviously Connor's a huge piece. Nobody's going to replace Connor in their own collectively as a group. I think we needed to do this anyways. We need to be better defensively. You're losing some scoring punch that I think we'll score at the same rate. Might not be a reality, so you got to be great defensively. And then 2, in order to keep closer to the scoring rate, I think we're going to have to score dirtier. We're going to have to score, those net front type goals, the tip type goals. Maybe not, we're not going to score from distance the way Connor can score from distance at a regular rate. So we're going to have to make sure we're scoring dirtier.
You're going to need more Tyler Bertuzzi's, basically.
Yeah, we do. To be honest with you, Tyler's probably the one guy on our team that's great at it, and he's a natural at it. But it doesn't really take anybody can do it. The one thing I've been impressed with Connor actually this year is he's gone to the net and been net front numerous times, and so everybody can do it. It's not that it doesn't take a skill set. Certainly tipping pucks and things like that is a hand-eye. There's a skill to that. But being around the net and creating the chaos, anybody can do.
Is he going to need any sort of procedure or operation or anything?
No, not at this time.
Okay.
Not at this time. So again, we'll reevaluate after the new year and see where it's at. But at this time, it's rehab.
So at that point, when you reevaluate, that still is an option that's on the table, depending on how he's doing.
Yeah, let's start with the rehab and see where it goes, and then I'll have a better update after that.
When a presence like him comes out of the lineup, especially considering all the young guys you have, is there a chance for growth for those guys? Like, I mean, I think sometimes guys will defer to guys like Connor and stuff, and maybe feel more free to play their game when he's not in the lineup.
I don't know if it's necessarily free, but I think there's a chance for growth, and I don't think it's necessarily just from deferring, but you can rely on him, and so now there's no, there isn't Connor to rely on, and Connor's not going to go out tomorrow night and score the big goal. He's not there, so then somebody else has to do that, and so that probably puts more pressure on the rest of the team, and that's good. Let's see which guys can take that pressure and up their game.
Are you, since it's happened, are you more or less optimistic about the recovery time?
Neither. Honestly, neither. I can't sit here and say. That's why, honestly, I wasn't until we kind of could evaluate and see where it's at. I didn't know what to expect, and I would say it's certainly not the worst prognosis. It could have been a worse prognosis.
How would you describe him? How do you think he's doing? I mean,
great, actually. Honestly, his attitude's good. I think he wants to be back next week, and that's kind of the approach that he takes, and he wants to be back. He would have preferred, I said, day to day. But to be out of fairness to all of you, and the reality is we won't let him do that before after the new year.
He's a bit of a rink rat, obviously, as we all know. Do you have to be careful, to make sure that he takes the time he needs here? I mean, and really keep an eye on him and make sure he's not trying to do too much to try and get back? I mean,
right now he can't. So right now it's not for the first little bit here, it won't be a big deal. And then once that, he'll be under close supervision. We'll make sure. The one thing Connor's done, going even back to last summer, been really, really smart about not overtraining. I think the previous summer there might have been a chance that he overtrained, and from what I was told, and so I think he's been really smart. He knows his body as good as anybody, and so we'll have close supervision, but I trust him.
When you absolved Braden during that face-off, is the injury something you noticed right away, or something that Connor told you about, that it would happen before the contact?
I didn't notice it live at all. I had no idea he was hurt. I walked off the bench and I heard people saying trainer, and then I looked and I saw Connor coming off holding. You know what I mean? So I knew something was up. When I looked at the face-off, though, you can tell that what happened prior to the push. And so it was prior to the push. It was as he was, trying to go forward with the face-off. It was unfortunate. Honestly, it was probably a freak accident, like I said, and it had nothing to do with Braden pushing after. And that's just a natural reaction after you lose a face-off, is to do that. Braden's a super quality guy. There was no ill intent at all.
You've talked a lot about continuing to be a shoot-first mentality, and Nick Lardis kind of personifies that.
Yeah.
You kind of hoping that trickles down to the rest of the roster?
Yeah, I think Nick's obviously got a weapon as a shot. He knows he's got a weapon as a shot, and he uses it. And I think there's times where some guys make their kind of their bread and butter is more making plays or passing it. But I just think when you're in a scoring position, if you're going to pass out of that scoring position, it better be a better scoring chance. And so I just think it's something that as a group we still got to get better at. But Nick brings that to the table, and Nick's we're trying to put Nick in I guess roles that he can succeed in, and we'll see. It is still a big ask. It's hard to be that age in this league and be a consistently really good player, but that doesn't mean he can. And hopefully over the next couple of games he's able to prove that he can.
All right, that is Jeff Blashill at Hawks practice today. So there you've heard it. That is everything about Connor Bedard and beyond. And the end comment there, question asked by Greg about Nick Lardis, kind of leads us to a bit of a topic here, is who is going to be able to fill the scoring for Connor Bedard? And the answer is no one. There is no one on this team that is as offensively skilled as
nobody can score
as Connor Bedard. But they're going to have to try to find a way, because they are not tanking this season. They are not just going to tuck their tails and say,
right,
let's just finish every game and lose and whatever. And Nick Lardis is one of the top candidates. I mean, look, 71 goals with Brantford, has come in and been a point-per-game player in Rockford, led the team in shots on goal against the Red Wings. I was watching him closely today in practice, and I think you've heard the term, like, a guys jump off the page. Like, you see somebody and they flash. Like, that is different from the rest.
Sure.
Nick Lardis had a practice like that today, where every time the puck touched his stick, there was a quick shot on goal. He is a shooter first, and I think there's been a lot of times we've gotten on Connor a little bit about, dude, you've got a generational shot, one of the top shots in the league. Use it. This year he's been using it, and that's a big part of why, one of the many reasons, but a big part of why his numbers have been up. Nick Lardis is a guy who has a shoot-first mentality, and he might be really the only guy on this team with that mentality. So to me, look, Frank Nazar is a natural answer, but the guy has not scored since before Halloween.
Yeah.
So until that slump is over, I'm putting an asterisk by Frank Nazar. So right now, my number one candidate is Nick Lardis to step up, and he's not going to be a 44 points in 30-some games thing like Bedard was. No. But if you can get 7 points in every 10 games or something like that from Lardis, at least for a little while as he gets top-line opportunity and everything, that can hold things for a while.
That's a lot to ask for a guy who's played his first NHL game.
Yeah.
But it's got to be committee. And I like how Blashill kind of laid it out, is that they don't really have anyone. Maybe Nick Lardis could become that option, but they don't really have anybody that's going to score from outside, as he put it. Like, they don't have guys that, like Connor can, where they're going to score from, further away from the net with kind of like snipe shots. It's going to have to get simplified, and especially with Frank Nazar not scoring at all in the last couple of weeks, and you have a lot of guys that don't really have that like sniper style of shooting and scoring. It's going to have to be by committee, and it's going to have to be around the net, scoring, rebound goals, deflection goals, taking the puck to the net and just trying and get something ugly like you see happen in the playoffs a lot.
Yep.
And I think you have a guy in Tyler Bertuzzi that second on the team in goals, 16 goals this season. A lot of them have been rebounds and deflections. And he's a guy that can be really effective around the net. You're going to have to see other guys step up. Andrei Burakovsky would like to see him be able to
It's been better lately.
Amp up a little bit of the scoring. Maybe that translates to Teuvo Teravainen needing to shoot more than
holding my breath
more.
On that one.
Love
the guy, but
you want Frank Nazar to be able to, he has been continuously generating scoring opportunities, even though he hasn't buried them. Bury him. Like, that'd be nice. Oliver Moore, Ryan Donato scored 30 goals last season. Like, not all of them were beautiful sniper, picking corners types goals.
That's a guy he'll shoot too.
They were a lot of around the net kind of goals. Jason Dickinson would be nice to get a goal around the net. Ilya Mikheyev would be nice to score on one of those shorthanded breakaways he seems to get every other game. But it's not going to be a one-man replacement for Connor Bedard. He is, as I'm looking at it here, 16th in the NHL in shots on goal this season, obviously leading the Blackhawks with 103. The next guy on the team in shots on goal is Tyler Bertuzzi with 63. So 40 shot difference between first and second on the Blackhawks. But Bertuzzi, it's not for a lack of trying. He's third on the team. Or I'm sorry, where is he? Fifth on the team, actually, in shot attempts with 109, but only 63 on the net. Man, Ryan Donato, 123 shot attempts, only 57 on net. That's got to get better.
Donato was second in shot attempts?
Shot attempts, 123.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, that is a guy with a shoot-first mentality, too.
More often than not.
I wish he would maybe stop trying to do the Bedard toe drag, because he's not Connor Bedard. Just remember, and I mean this with all due respect, you're Ryan Donato. You're not Connor Bedard. Your game is using your speed, he's got a good shot, but get it off. Get it on net.
Yeah, his 30-goal season last year wasn't like all highlight reel pretty goals.
There were a couple.
Yeah,
But
there's
Sam
some good
Lafferty
ones.
had a highlight reel goal. It doesn't mean I want him to try it
Right,
every time he
yeah.
gets a chance.
Exactly.
So your lines today at practice, for the record, were Nazar, Bertuzzi, Burakovsky, Dickinson, Teravainen, Mikheyev, Green, Moore, and Lardis, Toninato, Doc, Donato, and Lafferty was the extra. And your D pairs, Vlasic, Crevier, Grzelcyk, Levshinov, Kaiser, Murphy, Del Mastro, and then Knight and Soderblom, of course, in goal. And Laurent Brossoit was there before being waived today. So we're going to take a quick break. We come back. We're going to continue some Bedard conversation. But there were some other news and notes items from practice today that need our attention. So stick around if you've not done it yet, and a lot of you haven't. Hit that like button. I know we got some super chats we got to take care of as well, and we will on the other side of this break on CHGO Blackhawks, presented by Bet365.
Whether it's peak performance or becoming a better father, a better husband, or a better man, Game Day Men's Health wants to support every man's health journey through personalized care tailored to your goals. It's a very easy, quick process. You can be in and out of their facilities in an hour. You get personal care from family and locally owned clinics, and they have an extremely high success rate, whether it's testosterone or hair loss or weight loss, whatever you want to do, whatever makes you feel like a better version of yourself, you can do it at Game Day Men's Health. Feel better and have more energy. Again, with testosterone, vitamin supplements, weight loss, hair loss treatments. I went to the one in Libertyville. Was a great experience. So I'm gonna get started with their hair loss treatment because my hair is not what it used to be. Start your best life with Game Day Men's Health. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or go to GameDayCHGO.com to find the location nearest you.
Sounds like you were talking directly to me. Hey, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365, and with their early payout offer, you're a winner if your team goes up by 17 points. Easy money this weekend with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. So download the app and use our code CHGO365 when you sign up. Thursday Night Football, they've got their $10 safety net bet. Jump on that. And tonight, Monday Night Football, 50% super profit boost tokens on same game parlays. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. So sign up, use our code CHGO365, deposit $10, place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. Win or lose, those bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You must be 21 plus. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. This offer in-app only. All right, we're back on CHGO Blackhawks. We got some super chats. I'm going to acknowledge the chat, which I hate doing sometimes. There's a comment there saying that, can you go up a little bit, Chloe? That's Rusty McAllister Hockey. Most Chicago prospects over the last decade usually break out after being traded. Name one Blackhawks prospect that left Chicago and broke out. We will offer Brandon Hagel, who was already in the NHL for 2 years, and he was good when they traded him. They were trading an asset for first-round picks.
I mean, people will say Gustav Forsling, but
he went to two other teams before this happened.
Yeah, it wasn't an immediate thing.
Lucas Reichel.
Last decade? I don't think so.
Cleared waivers yesterday, by the way, after his 1 point in 16 games with Vancouver.
Since 2015. Yeah, I mean, I'd say Hagel. Strome wasn't a prospect.
Strome was not a prospect. And he played with Ovechkin.
Schmaltz was,
Yeah.
but he wasn't really a prospect.
Nate says future Hall of Famer Kirby Dach. Yeah, he's been on fire.
Sure. Is he healthy? Dano, sure. But
that was
10 years ago.
That was 10 years ago, and you're trading to win.
A completely different general manager, a completely different prospect system that you're even talking about. So
there's just a lot of
This is a day that
fatalistic.
This is a day that people were dreading, and the fact that Connor Bedard is not magically healed overnight by the hand of God, then the sky is falling. But that's not really the case. Losing, let me say, don't get it twisted. Losing Bedard sucks.
No, it sucks.
It sucks, and you saw it very clearly in the Detroit game that it's going to take a lot to try and replace him. But that's what we just spent the last 15 minutes talking about, is that it's a committee. There's 18 skaters every night, and yeah, Connor Bedard has been leading those guys every night basically. But you gotta pull your weight, do your job, and this is an opportunity where someone else is got to step up. And I think we were kind of talking about it before the show. Just like, I know this is a really young team. I know you got a lot of early 20-year-olds on the team, a lot of first-year pros, a lot of even just guys that this is their first year where you're expected to play in the NHL the whole season. But this is kind of one of those opportunities where it's just like, hey, now's a time to kind of grow into your big boy pants in the NHL, because you don't have the guy that's been shouldering the load for this team. Someone else has to step up. So I think this is it's you don't want this to be the case where Nick Lardis is here, or where guys have to find an opportunity to step up, but this is what's in front of you. So you can either, for the team, you can either mope about it, be like, man, Connor's out,
season's over,
season's
what's
done.
the point?
I'm gonna show up late to practice, and I'm
cancel
gonna
your members, cancel
I'm
your
give
cable
a
plan, and come back
half-ass
in
effort in games.
October.
You could do all of that, and it'd be terrible, and we'd all have a bad time. Or it's a chance to kind of get a kick in the pants and actually get out of this funk that it seems that they've been in, where you had the end of the road trip in California, and now you lose Bedard, like all that stuff. Like this is just like, okay, it's kind of buck up time, and hopefully the team responds that way. And they got a not easy road trip to find their footing with it.
Yeah.
Coming up.
We do have a super chat we got to get to from Licht SA. I don't know how to say that. Lixa?
Sure.
Lixa? Sure. If I'm Bedard, I'm doing what Kane did for his hip and going outside, in all caps, the organization for medical opinion and treatment options. The Blackhawks medical staff has not proven itself trustworthy. All right. Thanks for the $10.
Okay.
I just don't know what the evidence of that is.
I don't know,
But
I couldn't
all right.
tell you.
That's fine. All right. So the next little bit of news. At the beginning of practice today, Jeff Blashill blew his stack. I was looking down at my computer. I think I was typing the lines or whatever I was doing, and I heard several F-bombs, and I looked up, and Jeff Blashill was shouting in the direction of Artem Levshinov and Sam Lafferty. I couldn't tell who it was, but basically it was, "You're not effing showing up on time," something like that. Mm-hmm. What I have since learned is that for a 10 a.m. practice, Artem Levshinov showed up at 9:40.
9:40?
9:20. I'm sorry, 9:20 today.
9:20.
There were no, from what I understand, there were no pre-practice video sessions or anything like that. So 40 minutes before practice time, but not quite early enough in Jeff Blashill's eyes.
I mean, that's when I show up for a beer league game.
Yeah.
Sometimes 40 minutes.
Yes.
I think for a professional hockey player, it should maybe be a little bit more than that.
I would think so too. I would think there's, just the act of getting in hockey gear takes a good amount of time, and then getting in the mindset to be ready to go for practice. I mean, you had guys on the ice basically.
Foligno was out there.
Well, Foligno was working on his own alone, so he's going to be out there earlier. But Foligno got company. I think Arvid Soderblom and Laurent Brossoit were out there maybe around 9:30, and then other guys started trickling on. So usually by the time practice starts at 10, most of the team is on the ice. The vast majority of the team has already been on the ice for 10 minutes at least.
Most guys do a little bit of warm-up before the actual practice starts.
Yes.
Again, this is the NHL. There's standards to be held accountable to. And whether it's Nick Foligno or Artem Levshinov or Nick Lardis or whoever you want to say, the standards of being a professional in the NHL are what they are. And you have to rise to them, and you have to meet them. And we saw this I would say this is what happened early in the season when Levshunov was scratched for the home opener. He didn't have a great first 2 games. Blashill kind of not in the same way, I would say, but directed some pretty pointed words at him at that morning skate, and then it was like, oh, Levshunov's not playing tonight.
It would not shock
unexpected.
me if Ethan Del Mastro was in the lineup for him tomorrow. It would not shock me.
Yeah, we'll have to see how things look at morning skate in Toronto. But look, like it is a learning process, but also let's grow up. Let's be adults. Yeah. You're in the NHL. Like I think the baseline for these guys needs to be like, this is what being in the NHL, the standards have to be. And this, I think this kind of can come back to Nick Foligno not having been around for a couple of weeks now. But it shouldn't just be Nick Foligno. It should, I'd imagine you got to think Connor Murphy and Jason Dickinson and these guys can or should be holding their teammates accountable. And I don't know. I just think you good on Blashill for trying to hold those players accountable, whether it's Levshunov only or across the board. Like, the message has to be there. Like, we hear it time and time again. Every loss, we've heard it. It's an everyday league.
Yep.
It's not 82 nights a year. It's every day. It's every practice. It's every morning skate. It's every game. Like, it's every rest day. You have to have your NHL life in mind.
Well, look, I mean, Alex Vlasic's talked about it this year where he said, I've never been a guy that likes to take naps, but I have learned in my career, which is what now, almost 4, he's got 4, like parts of 4 seasons of experience. So he's saying finally now he's like, and I finally realized, damn, for me to be successful, I have to take a nap. And I had to readjust my life style and those sort of things. Like, they all do it. And I'm not sort of panicked that Artem Levshunov got yelled at practice. But what you're saying, Mario, is that Blashill holds a guy accountable. I think this is what has been lacking for the last couple of years with Richardson and Sorensen, is that there were a lot of things Connor Bedard was doing on the ice that probably warranted a bit of discipline. Like, you are not entering the zone at the end of a shift 1 versus 3. Right. You're putting the team in a bad spot, but it never happened, right? And, like, these young players need that accountability, because as soon as that happened, Artem Levshunov's body language changed, and he was practicing with more intensity. Sometimes you need the kick in the ass. Sometimes you don't even really realize. I've told this story. I think I might have said this to Chloe last week. Somebody I was telling the story to. I went to college. I was 20 for an entire semester, 3/4 of a semester, thinking that the class was at 5:45 and it was at 5:30. And I walked into class and I go, "Why do you always start class early?" And she goes, "You are late every week." It didn't even dawn on me that I might be the problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it took her saying, "Hey, dumbass, I'm not starting class early. Every week, everyone's here but you.
Check the syllabus."
Right. So it took someone pointing it out to me that, hey, you know what? Artie, 9:20 for a 10 o'clock practice is not good enough. Change it. Be ready to go. And it worked. Like, we got to remember, these guys are children. They can't buy beer. Think, like, they literally can't go into a 7-Eleven and buy beer. No, that's how young these guys are. And think about where you were at that stage in your life. I'm still an idiot, but I was a complete idiot when I was 20. And I think a lot of these young guys need that reminder. I was having a conversation with Louis Crevier today about just his improvement over the year, and he said, like, I had to learn how to be a professional. It is something we have heard from everybody in this organization, from Nick Foligno to Alex Vlasic to Louis Crevier. It's something they're all working through. So I also think that Artie has a slight awareness problem sometimes. He's just we like that he's aloof. We like that he's kind of no worries, kind of like the dude on ice, right? Mm-hmm. But there was a moment today at the end of practice where he's at the left point shooting on the net. There are several Hawks gathered to the left of the goal, so he's shooting across the net. He misses his shot and buzzes the tower on Tyler Bertuzzi. Like a high shot goes right past him like this, and they're like, you saw Bertuzzi like, dude, like, and roll his eyes. Like there is some frustration with Artie's level of awareness. You can see it sometimes, but the skill is there and the talent's there, and if they can curate this and as we talked about with him all season, eliminate those oh my god moments, be it on or off the ice, and maximize his raw talent, they're going to have a star on their hands. But I think there's going to be some work that goes into this with him, and just getting him to that level of maturity that you have to be to be a thriving professional.
It's growing pains.
Yeah.
I understand that. Only a masochist likes to have pain over and over again. So,
Yep.
learn your lesson.
All right, we're going to hit the break zone again. Do us a favor, hit that like button for us. Let's get to 100 likes, please, if we can. We'd really appreciate that. We'll talk to you in 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks.
Winter, if you didn't know, is here.
Almost.
Is your home's heating up for the challenge? I hope it is. I've been putting my heating to the challenge, and it is stand the test. Knock on wood. But if you need to make sure your home is up for it, call Four Seasons. If you have a plumbing emergency, call Four Seasons. If you have an electrical emergency, call Four Seasons. If you need a new hot water tank installed today because you don't want to take a cold shower when it's -5 degrees out, call Four Seasons. At Four Seasons, they guarantee same-day installation for all of your heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, and generator needs. And they don't charge extra for nights, weekends, and holidays, which is, of course, when those things tend to break. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all of their special offers and money-saving coupons. Again, that's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com.
And is there anything better than winning Christmas?
No.
To be the one that gets the best and most thoughtful gift, it's the greatest. And if you want to be like me and win Christmas like I did last year, get yourself an Aura frame, the solution, and it's a gift that feels personal, which is what mom or grandma or your wife or whoever wants. You can upload photos and videos to the frame. Just download the Aura app and connect to Wi-Fi. You can share photos and videos effortlessly straight from your phone all year long. You can upload a message that will be there when they turn on the frame for the first time. Very, very cool. Jump on this for Christmas. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter by using our promo code CHGO at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code CHGO. This is only for you, the CHGO listener, so take advantage while they are still available. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. All right, we are back on CHGO Blackhawks. Some more news at practice today. Laurent Brossoit is actually right now on waivers. I've heard a little bit that they expect him to be claimed. But if not, he will go to Rockford and he will split time with Brezhnev. I can't tell you who said that, but it's something I heard. That there is an expectation that he will be claimed. If not, he will go to Rockford and split time with Brezhnev and Comesso, which is something they probably don't want to handle for too long of a time.
Sure.
I'd give him a start or two here. I've been saying it for a week, but apparently it's not in the plan. So,
I wouldn't be shocked if a team claims him. There's still teams out there that I think could use some sort of upgrades or at least insurance in net. And he's a guy that, by resume, would be able to do that. And from what we've seen so far from him in the AHL, knocking the rust off. His last 2 games have been decent showings. He scored his goal. Like it seems like, being on the ice, being, practicing regularly, getting some game action. Like, seems like he's knocking off the rust. And if he does get through waivers and goes down to Rockford, that's only going to help, I guess I would say, his trade stock.
Yeah,
because
just
then
keep building on what he's done.
Teams will have to say like, oh, now if we don't get him for free, we'll have to give up something for him. And I'm not saying like, oh, it's going to be a first round pick or anything like that, but if he plays well in Rockford and teams start to say, oh, we need backup help or we need injury insurance or whatever. it might be something more than future considerations for a guy like him. And if he's not going to play in the NHL, fine. Like, I want him to have the success that he can have, because his time in Chicago has not been how he wanted it to go, not how the organization wanted it to go. But if he's going to find greener pastures elsewhere, like, go for it. And I say that knowing that the Blackhawks have Spencer Knight, they've got Drew Comezzo, they've got Arvid Soderblom for one more season, and they've got Adam Guyon playing well in the NCAA, and even Brezhnev has been having no idea what he would provide to you. He's actually been pretty decent in the AHL.
Yes. The Majestic American Woodcock said, if you expect him to be claimed, surely there's a team that would give up a fourth-round pick for him. No, that's why he's waived. They've been trying to work out a trade since he was deemed eligible to return to practice. They were open about that they're pursuing a trade opportunity. They've given Brossoit and his agent the right to seek a trade, and they have not found anything. That's why he's going on waivers, so he can go back to Rockford and play.
Yeah, because the conditioning stint only goes for, is it 10 days, 14 days? I can't remember exactly. So him being in Rockford, that time would expire. So then he'd have to go back. So he's going through waivers to go back. And if he gets claimed, he gets claimed.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope he doesn't get claimed, because I do think he'll establish some value. And like I saw our buddy Windy City Hockey thought that maybe Edmonton would claim him. They did just trade for Tristan Jarry.
Right.
But they had to give up Stuart Skinner to get him, and Pickard's been bad. Pickard has been bad. So maybe they'll do Brossoit and Jarry. But that to me is a really risky avenue to take if you are trying to win the Stanley Cup.
That's not any better. If you say Skinner and
Brossoit
Pickard,
might be better than Pickard.
Skinner and Pickard, or Jerry and Brossoit.
Sure.
Oof.
Yes.
Sure.
It's kind of like the same.
It's the equal amount.
I don't know if you
it's
solved
an
your
equal
problem.
amount of maybe and possible disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think because if you're claiming him, you're also claiming his $3 and change $1 million cap hit. So what teams are contending that have that much cap space and goalie problems? It's a short list, I would say. So
not many.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of hours as we get to tomorrow afternoon and see what happens. But yeah, I mean, if he gets claimed, that's fine. I don't. Again, as we've said, and it doesn't seem like it's in the cards, but I don't see the harm in giving him an NHL game, just giving him a look. But I'm not the GM. I'm not the coach. I'm not involved at all in the organization. But that's what I would do. But if he goes to the AHL, gets through, goes to the AHL, and keeps playing well, yeah, then you have the option to bring him up if he's not going anywhere, or
just keep him
his
up.
value increases. Either way.
I don't know. I don't know why, unless you don't like what you saw in Rockford. And let's be honest, the goal was very cool, but the numbers aren't like, oh my God.
They're okay.
They're fine. They're totally fine.
For a guy that hasn't played
100%.
in 18 months.
But
yeah.
I would like to see him get a starter or two in Chicago. The way Soderblom's been playing lately, is it going to be worse?
Yeah, like what does it hurt?
It doesn't.
He's
If anything,
got
it increases his value.
Yeah, in 3 games down in Rockford, he's 2-1. He's got a 900 save percentage, 90 saves on 100 shots faced, and a 339 goals against. Like, it's not great, sure, but also, again, it's the only hockey he's played in almost 2 years.
Right.
So you give him a little bit of leash and see what he can do. If he goes back down and has another 900 plus save percentage game, or a really good performance, then yeah, it's just increasing any value in a trade should he not get claimed.
Yeah, I mean Soderblom has been flat out bad.
He hasn't been 2 seasons ago, Soderblom, but he's trending downwards from the start of the year, which is not good.
Yeah, I mean you're down, and again, they're not all his fault, as we said in the post game against Detroit, but make a big save. Before you're down 2-0.
There's still goals that are going in that not even to Spencer Knight standards, but just to more league average goalie standards. You're like, that's usually saved. And for Soderblom, they're still trickling through. So, again, like...
literally.
I would... Sure.
That DeBrincat goal is like, all right, that's just going to go in.
So given the way that he's been playing, that's kind of why I still would have the door open to Brossoit playing in the NHL, but it doesn't seem like Org's going that way.
Yeah.
And the only other way to, solve Soderblom's woes is seemingly just play Spencer Knight 80% of the time.
Good, fine, do it.
I'm not opposed
grind
to
him
either.
Grind him into dust.
I'm not opposed to either. He wants to be a 60-game starter. Go out and start 60 games.
Yes, back to back, and we've added a game. We're playing 83 this year to play you 3 games in a row, Knight. Take that.
Yeah.
The other bit of news, Nick Foligno making the trip.
Interesting.
Which to me is a bit of a surprise. I was there very early today. Unlike somebody. I was on time. Artie. Watching Foligno on the other surface doing everything except taking wrist shots.
Yeah.
He was very intentionally not snapping off shots or cranking up slap shots. He was working the boards. He was working on his skating, stick handling. He put a bunch of pucks in a circle and stick handled through them. Wasn't quite as impressive as Patrick Kane. It was a little more impressive than Brandon Bolig. It was somewhere
That's
in between.
Good. That's what I would hope it would be.
Yeah. But he looked fine, but it was clearly not shooting any sort of shot that would put any stress on his wrist. Did roof a couple backhanders. But look, I think if he does play on this trip, and it sounded 50-50 from Jeff Blashill that he'll play, I would expect him to pass first. Which, boy, if the Hawks need anything, it's a forward willing to pass.
Yeah. I mean,
they'll probably shoot it up. He'll probably play through some pain. And it's probably healthy enough now where it's not a risk of re-injury.
Probably playing with a brace or something.
Yeah, and he'll never be 100% this year, but good enough to play in Nick Foligno's mind. And I think they need him. I think they need him around, and I think they need him on the ice.
Yeah, I mean, I think he probably recognizes and is itching to get back to the grind of the NHL season and back with the team and back in the role that he's been in with the organization. And clearly, as they seem lacking his presence. So I think that's, some factors in him maybe pushing himself to get back a little bit earlier than what his timeline may have been. Obviously, losing Bedard also probably accelerates his drive to want to get back. So, again, I'm not a huge fan of, if you have to play with a brace and you're playing with a half of a hand or whatever it is, like, that's not great. And knowing the way Foligno plays, like, that could open him up to, because he hits and he'll drop the glove. It probably won't with
do not
what's
drop
going
gloves.
on. But it just kind of opens you up to maybe injuring it more. But far be it from me to tell a hockey player not to play hockey.
No, and Nick is old school in every sense of the way. And if he's
Right.
able to do it, he will do it. Couple people asking, and Brian Magnuson among them, at what point does Kyle go outside the organization for scoring help? This year, summer, is he waiting for Frondel or Kantsarov? I think that's the key, is that Frondel, Kantsarov, and Sasha Boisvert, whose numbers have not been massively impressive, but he's been hurt with BU this year, are on the horizon.
Merrick Van Acker leads the OHL in goals.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, and look, there's 2/3 of the people in our show right now are saying the season's over. They're going to lose every game from here on out. So why would you trade for help now? Look, I've said for a while, if something, and Kyle has said this too, if there's something that makes sense in the context of where they're at, they will pursue it.
Right.
And I'm looking at Vancouver.
Lucas Reichel.
I really like Connor Garland.
I like Connor Garland,
and I think
too.
he brings a ton of what they need. He's signed at $6 million. So right now it's 4.95. Next year, a $6 million contract kicks in.
That's so crazy.
For the next 5 seasons.
That's so crazy.
And I know he'll be 30 when that deal starts, but like,
They're
I'd
not,
rather,
yeah.
but a guy like Connor Garland to come in even at 30.
I like Connor Garland, but that contract Kyle Davidson is not taking.
But at this point,
that
he's making
player.
less than Frank Nazar.
for now.
$6 million is
No.
nothing with the new cap.
I think we know Kyle Davidson enough. That's
Well,
that's
see,
that's
this is
not
what, but
gonna
this is
happen.
what I need to learn
This
about.
isn't Connor Bedard is now gone from the organization. They don't need to make a trade to completely. He's gone for the time being, maybe a month. We'll see what it ends up being. But this is
Sure.
This is not the sinking ship. Everything needs to change.
No, but I would.
It's not going to happen.
If Connor Bedard was not hurt, I would consider trading for Connor Garland. I don't think it's
Yeah.
going to take you having to give up like
I would consider it too.
Korchinski and Kanserov in a first to get Connor Garland. It's not going to be a Quinn Hughes type trade.
Kyle Davidson won't consider it.
Well,
is what I'm saying.
I just want to see at some point that day will come. And I kind of agree, and we're going to get into the Quinn Hughes thing next because we haven't had a chance to do it yet. But that to me is like kind of the last box to check for him. Like, can you get the big name player when it's time to get the good name player? So I don't know. I'm open minded to starting to think about adding at this point, but it's got to be the right guy. It's got to be the right fit, not just for the sake of doing it. So
I know we're up against the bricks now. I just want to put this out there that like he is seeing out this rebuilding plan. I think that's very evident. I think the guys that are on the way are likely going to be those scoring pieces. Frondell, Kanserov. We've got Lardis here now. Nazar, if he's not in a funk, can be usually reliable. Vanacker, Boisvert, like they have the ability to be supplemental scorers as well in the NHL. So I don't think Davidson's out there like, I need to find another 50 goal scorer, and I don't think he's going to go out of his way to find it. Also, to improve the team, he went and got Tyler Bertuzzi in free agency. He went and got Teuvo Teravainen in free agency. He turned Joe Veleno into Andre Burakovsky. Like, I know those aren't big-time goal scorers, but those are around the edges, supplemental player improvements, because what this has all been about is reshaping the Blackhawks from the bottom up. And the bottom up is now getting here and is here. It's Bedard, it's Moore, it's Nazar, it's Lardis. It's all these young guys.
Yep.
So we've been clamoring, Blackhawks fans, for instant gratification. I don't know. I guess I just don't know why we're still clamoring for it, because Kyle Davidson has not been giving it to you, and he's been telling you, I'm pretty much not going to give it to you. It's the long-term build. So if you're looking for them to go out and trade for Tage Thompson or something, as much as fun as that is to speculate, I don't think they're doing it. I think it's Kanserov and it's Frondell, and it's all these guys that are going to be coming up, and that's the long-term plan. And unless Kyle Davidson is gifted someone who's going to score you 30 goals in a trade that they're going to fleece somebody in, which probably won't happen, it's not going to do it.
All right, we're going to hit the break zone back in 2 minutes. We are very close to 100 likes. I'm confident we can get there with 250 people watching. Hit the like button for us, please. Back in 2 minutes.
What kind of dreams did you have when you were a kid? What kind of things did you want to be when you grew up? Did you want to be a professional athlete?
Nope.
Or a professional podcaster?
Yes.
Did you want to own your own business? Well, how about now? You want to own your own business? Shopify can help you with that. Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and is 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. Shopify even powers the CHGO merch store. Shopify has you covered with website creation, product descriptions, email and social media marketing, and more. They also have AI tools designed to help you maximize sales if you're into that stuff. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity.
And hockey season is underway. There's lots of trades, lots of things happening already. And there's nothing better than being in the arena for a game. And the Game Time app gives the advantage back to you, the hockey fan. It is the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in a few taps. It's super easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means you can trust you're going to get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. And I love that fees are always included. So what you see is what you pay. You don't hit add to cart and then go to checkout and there's an extra $150 on there somehow. Other ticket sites.
Yep.
Ridiculous. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. All right, we're back on CHGO Blackhawks. That's the last break, we promise. We are even closer to 100 likes. We can do it. We have not had the opportunity to talk about the Quinn Hughes trade yet. So we're going to do that. We had a question come in on, what was it, the Discord?
On the Discord, yeah. Let me pull that up here real quick. It was from Lord Tobias was asking us. I know today wasn't a Mailbag Monday, but still sent in the question. I thought it was a good one. It says, with the Wild getting Hughes, 1, what does this mean for the Hawks long term, as yet another team in the Central Division will be harder for the Hawks to compete for a cup against? And 2, I'd be interested to see if Kyle Davidson did anything or offered anything. What the Wild gave up, what would be the Hawks equivalent? We kind of spitballed that when the trade happened, and it kind of felt like it would be given up Levshinov or Korchinski.
Probably Levshinov.
Nazar and like Vanacker.
Or Colton Dock.
Yeah.
A guy who had good success in the AHL, hasn't scored consistently in the NHL. But whatever, pick one of those two.
Yeah,
and a first-round pick.
Pick your prospects. Yeah, and one of their first-round picks this year.
Well, here's what I'll say. Very rarely do teams that get the best player regret the trade. And I think this makes a lot of sense for the Wild, and for a couple reasons. Because you're getting maybe the second best defenseman in the league behind Cale Makar, in my opinion.
Yes.
A Norris Trophy winner, a young player. Not only that, think about how you, the hockey fan, perceive the Minnesota Wild. They're always thought of as, they're fine. They'll make the playoffs every year, for the most part, and maybe they win around, but they never really have enough to get a Stanley Cup. They're not really a destination for free agents. That's why they had to give Kaprizov $17 million a year to stay,
right?
Because it just isn't. It's not New York. It's not Chicago. It's not LA. It's not whatever. Pick your marquee team. They've always struggled. So for them to be able to land a guy like Quinn Hughes not only helps them on the ice, obviously, it also helps their reputation a little bit. And it shows that, look, they're willing to do what it takes to put together a winning team. They're willing to make big trades. They're willing to pay top money to free agents, and they're willing to go out and acquire top-notch players. I think this puts the Minnesota Wild on a platform of attention that they've never been on before. Maybe you would say, like, right after they traded for or they signed Parise and Suter that summer. That was very attention-grabbing. It was a huge deal at the time.
And
but
then
it
the NHL
never really
went into a lockout.
Right. And it didn't really pan out.
Works.
I think for Minnesota specifically, it makes all the sense in the world. And I think Vancouver says, we are very pleased with this return. Marco Rossi's a guy who everyone seems to believe has more potential than he's shown in Minnesota simply because of opportunity. He'll be able to play in a top 6 role all the time in Vancouver. Zeev Buium is a star young defenseman.
Stud.
And they're talking about him as the kind of guy who can go in and like ignite a locker room. Like he is this pure positivity, pure fire all the time. Nice. And he'll just kind of drag you into the fight with him. One of those kind of guys. So it's a great deal for both teams. Now, the question was, were the Hawks involved? I don't think so, but
Does it sound like it?
Tell me, like, really one thing, aside from signing Teuvo Teravainen, what is one move the Hawks have made that has been on the radar of anybody? Like the Jones for Spencer Knight thing was completely out of the blue. Yeah. We knew that they were trying to trade Seth Jones, but like
didn't know what.
Never heard the name Spencer Knight.
Yeah, no.
Burakovsky. No one heard about. There was no rumors about that. Like we found out he tried to sign Jake Gensel. You never heard a word about that until it happened, right? Like everything Kyle Davidson does is undercover. It does not get out.
Yeah.
So maybe they did. I just think that the timing for the Hawks is probably, if it was 2-3 years from now, 100%. But I think right now it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and we had a number of discussions leading up to the trade actually happening about it made sense as far as being able to pay the price tag for Quinn Hughes and being able to afford the extension. And, the window of his prime lining up with the window of, where the Hawks want to be as far as getting back up in the standings and contending and everything. It all matched up. But I think, the interesting thing that I'm taking away from this is that, the messaging from Hughes and the messaging from his agent Pat Brisson has kind of been like, kudos to Minnesota for sacking up and making the move, but also I'm not guaranteed to stick around here. I have a year and a half left on my current contract, and unless he, wins a cup in Minnesota or something and, is completely sold on being with the Wild for the rest of his career or whatever, there's no guarantee he's sticking around. So Bill Guerin and the Wild made a big roll of the dice to make this move without having any sort of understanding that, like, yeah, there's also an extension coming with it. And I think that was one of the things that we talked about, and I would imagine the Blackhawks probably would have liked, is that, hey, if we give up all these guys, all these young players that we're building our franchise with for Quinn Hughes, Quinn has to stick around. And it didn't seem like Hughes or his agent were, like, interested in having those kinds of discussions.
Nor should they. I sort of like that players are starting to feel a little more empowered. Mm-hmm. And just because Minnesota traded for Quinn Hughes doesn't mean Quinn Hughes owes Minnesota anything.
Right.
And I was listening to 32 Thoughts today, and Elliot Friedman was basically saying, like, the Devils tried, but the implication is that there were several players that didn't want to waive their no movement clauses. He didn't get into specifics, but good for them.
If I had a no movement clause,
right? If you're a Devil,
I'm not waiving it to go from New Jersey to Vancouver.
Hell no, absolutely not. So I'm glad these players are taking the power that they have and running with it. And Quinn Hughes, he said, like, sure, I'm willing to stay long term, but we'll see how it works out. One thing that Elliot Friedman kind of mentioned that I thought was interesting was they could give him a 3-year extension, and then his free agency would align with Jack Hughes' free agency and have them both be UFAs at the same time.
That would be so fun.
And then maybe they
both
team up,
want to
right?
sign.
They probably both sign wherever, and then that would also, if it's the Devils, because when Luke just signed a 7-year extension, I think.
I think so.
So
yeah.
he'll have a few years left in New Jersey by the time those two become UFAs. Because New Jersey kind of has to figure out what they are too here, because we've been hearing a 7-year deal.
Yeah, year one of a 7-year deal.
So New Jersey, they have been injury plagued.
Mm-hmm.
Make no mistake, they've got a roster that should be able to compete in the East. They just can't stay healthy. Markstrom hasn't been what they thought he would be. He hasn't been the all-star they thought they were getting. So there's a lot of factors in what New Jersey's doing, but New Jersey is in danger of being the Minnesota Wild from 72 hours ago.
I mean, the East is completely congested.
Yeah.
They're 1 point out of a playoff spot right now.
But what odds would you need to bet the Devils
5
to win
points
the cup?
from the basement of the conference? Yeah,
like they're not a cup winner.
Maybe not. Maybe at full strength.
Maybe they use the time in between to say.
I mean, you don't have Jack Hughes. It's equivalent to the Blackhawks not having Connor Bedard.
Right.
Like, that's your best player you're missing. So
yeah.
When Jack Hughes gets back to the Devils, I would imagine that their trajectory would probably go back upwards. But yeah, I mean, it's again, like you can only deal with the cards that play with the cards you've been dealt. Pierre LeBrun had information on the teams that were interested. He did list confirmed teams that tried to trade for Quinn Hughes. Obviously, we don't know the degrees of the trade packages that were offered, but he did list New Jersey, also Detroit and the Rangers, and he says to some degree Carolina and Buffalo.
He said that Edmondson was kind of a non-starter for Detroit.
Edmondson? Oh, yeah.
Edmondson.
Yeah, the Red Wings young defenseman who's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it was going to, obviously it took a lot. So only so many teams could afford that price, and only so many. I mean, out of those teams, I mean, Rangers makes sense. Detroit makes sense. New Jersey makes sense to make those deals. Carolina, that makes sense.
They're always in.
Buffalo.
If there's a star available, the Hurricanes want him.
Buffalo, sure. Try your hardest.
At least you
Sabres.
tried. We called it the Jed Hoyer Award.
Yeah,
No,
well-
we tried really hard to get this guy.
Yeah.
Just go somewhere else.
Well, now it's
What can you do?
Jarmo Kekalainen's problem.
All right, we're going to go to overtime here. So if you're watching us on the fast channels, your Roku, your Samsungs, etc., head over to allchgo.com to continue the conversation here for a few minutes. Thanks for getting us over 100 likes, by the way, too.
Nice. Good job.
But yeah, I mean, could the Hawks have gotten this deal done? Probably. I think they had they certainly had the pieces necessary to get it done.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just don't know if the timing made a lot of sense.
I
Like,
think
does adding Quinn Hughes now for, this year and next?
It doesn't put you over the hump this year, or it doesn't make you a cup contender this year. It's not that big of an accelerant, especially if you are losing, considering it would be probably Levchinov, probably Nazar. Like, those are two everyday guys and two guys that you're banking on being big pieces of the future. But I think it's still that kind of move fits the timeline of what they're building with, especially with Bedard. But yeah, I mean, it kind of, I don't know how much net positive you get out of that, but I think if you were to make that trade and get the extension done, then you're talking about, Quinn Hughes in his, late 20s to early 30s over the timeline of the arrival of Frondell and Kanserov and Spencer Knight becoming a full-time starter, in his full-time NHL form and all that stuff. Like, I think it would have lined up. But again, we're talking about with Kyle Davidson, like, he is sticking with his plan. He believes in it. It's working. How long ago was it that we were just talking about the interview that he did with The Athletic, where it was like he talked with Mark Lazarus and was, Laz was like, tanking is terrible and I hate it, but clearly for Davidson, it's worked.
Yeah.
So, are we on board with throwing that all away, or are you hopped on the ride and understanding that, all these steps in development and these steps up, it's not a straight line. It's not a rocket ship out of the basement of the league. It takes time and it takes patience.
That's true. And drafting and developing is the best way to have sustained success. But no team does it 100% prospects and draft picks. I just don't think the timing is right, especially when you consider, as we just discussed, Quinn Hughes' willingness to be, this isn't a selfish thing, about himself, putting himself in the best position he can. And I don't think the Hawks have, in the next year and a half, what remains of this year and next year, to prove to Quinn Hughes that, you want to be here long term. To the point where you're giving up the number 2 overall pick in Artem Levchinov and Frank Nazar and Oliver Moore or Colton Dock or whoever, and a first-round pick for a year and a half of Quinn Hughes, which maybe has a first-round playoff appearance next year. Maybe.
Right.
And is that going to be enough to make Quinn Hughes happy and stay here? I feel like Quinn Hughes is going to take this as long as he can with the Wild, as he should. That is his right. He has earned unrestricted free agency. He should go out has earned the right to go cherry pick wherever he wants to be for as much money as he wants to be there. So if I'm Kyle Davidson, I am not giving up, huge pieces of my future, even though probably neither of them will be as good as Quinn Hughes or any of the three of them, whatever. I'm not doing that right now. It does not make sense at all.
I agree.
All right. Well, we'll be back tomorrow. What?
I have something to add.
Oh,
You didn't
Chloe's
see what I
here.
just
Chloe's
sent you?
Is this breaking news?
No, it's not breaking news, but it's a notification from ESPN I just got, and it says Mika Zibanejad will not play Monday versus Ducks after being late to a team meeting.
There you go.
Interesting.
And Mike
Mercury's-
Sullivan kind of said, like, this is New York, traffic happens, but be a pro.
Maybe
Plan
Mercury is
for
in
it.
retrograde, though.
You have to explain that to me.
I don't know. It's just a thing people say when a lot of one thing is happening at a time.
All right, fair.
Oh,
You know.
Does that mean your thermometers don't work?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure. Anything could happen.
See, thermometers used to use mercury to tell the temperature.
Yeah.
They weren't all digital.
I think they still
Yeah,
do.
I remember that because weren't there
delicious
kids that
mercury.
would break it open and accidentally eat it? No?
That's what
Was
smelling
that just
salts are
me?
made
I'm
out
just
of.
kidding.
Mercury.
No, don't do that. All right, we're back tomorrow. What time's it again tomorrow? I don't even know.
6
Who
o'clock,
cares?
I think. I think it's 6 o'clock.
Who cares? The season's over.
Because it's Eastern time zone. I believe
Yeah.
it's 6 o'clock.
We'll
6
be here
o'clock.
pregame
Pretty sure it's 6 o'clock.
at 5:30
It's 6
pregame
o'clock.
tomorrow.
It
Yep.
is 6 o'clock.
And then we'll be on. Is it 6 o'clock, Mario?
It's at 6 o'clock.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
5:30
Oh,
pregame.
it's at 6 o'clock.
Oh,
6
thanks,
o'clock.
Chloe, for checking that out.
Yep.
Back at 5:30 pregame and postgame. Hawks
And
and
special
Leafs.
guest on the pregame as well.
Yes. You want to promote that?
No, you'll have to tune in to find out who it is.
Ooh, maybe it's
But we
Laurent
are.
Brossoit.
It is Blackhawks and Maple Leafs. So, yep.
Fun.
That's it. Find out the surprise tomorrow at 5:30 before tomorrow's 6 o'clock start time.
All right. Talk to you then on CHGO Blackhawks.
We all silly like the mayor.